This professional development is entitled Improving Literacy in the Content Areas. It has helpful information that I hope can be of some use to you as you plan for next school year. Thank you for participating. Literacy is not just comprehending. It is also being able to convey what is learned while you are reading, writing, speaking, listening, viewing presentations, and using technology. Years of research shows that literacy is very important to student learning. That's one reason why it was included in every subject of the Common Core standards. It is also why colleges provide content area literacy classes for pre-service teachers. Literacy improves student learning and comprehension, builds conceptual knowledge, keeps students more actively engaged, produces critical thinkers and problem solvers, and helps students to be thoughtful and well informed. The current method of focusing only on the academic course material is not effective. Students are unable to comprehend and apply knowledge when they lack literacy skills. When reading a text, you do not look for information beyond the purpose you were asked to read. This causes you to miss information. If you were to read it again for a different purpose, new information will present itself. That's considered a barrier. Context refers to a variety of things. It may be students' ethnic background, current social situation, socio-political context, family situations, peer groups, extracurricular activities, even the environmental factors such as temperature and noise level. All of these can shape a reader's meaning. There are 4 different knowledge skills that are necessary in order for students to comprehend advanced texts that are found in our secondary settings. These can be semantics, which are words with multiple meanings. They can be discipline specific. They can be discursive, which is the context of the situation affecting their meaning. Or they can be pragmatic, which is only when things that are experienced or observed are considered real. Having individuals who do not speak the same language or dialect is also a major barrier. Our English language learners face a major barrier when they come into our classrooms. Teachers also face barriers. Numerous studies have been done that indicate that there is a crisis in adolescent literacy. Due to this, virtually every teacher education program requires teachers to take a course on content area literacy. These programs are typically considered inadequate in preparing pre-service teachers for their future careers as a teacher. There needs to be a greater cohesion when referring to the definition within a content area literacy. Clear understanding of preparing pre-service teachers to offer instruction in content literacy, and stronger educational networks to help teachers get over these predisposed barriers. Different definitions of what literacy means also causes some major variations in instruction. Some feel that literacy should be just print-based, while others give a more broader definition. This is the definition I'll deal with in this professional development. This definition includes reading, writing, listening, and speaking literacy. Most feel it is a lifelong learning process. An inadequate budget can also lead to a reduced number of professional developments. This causes educators to be poorly trained in literacy strategies. It also causes there to be insufficient resources available for these teachers. It is very difficult to develop programs that monitor and evaluate literacy programs. Many of you may have heard of the move towards a multi-tiered system of support, or MTSS. This is the system we are moving towards. The 3rd tier of this system includes using a universal prescriptive or diagnostic screener to evaluate whether a student's lack of success in learning with the other 2 tiers is due to missing background information or knowledge, or if there is some underlying learning disability that is causing this deficit. Literacy is a major important standard for all Common Core curriculum. Literacy is important for both college and career readiness. Using a variety of literacy strategies allows you to meet the diverse needs of your learners within your classroom. When using these strategies, the teachers must introduce and explain the strategy. The teacher should also model how to use these strategies and to monitor their students. These strategies can teach a variety of skills. Teachers can assign these strategies independently. They can work as partners. Students can work in small groups, or you can use it as a whole class assignment or review. The directed reading thinking activity can be used in all curriculums at all grade levels. It helps to make predictions, use inferences, and help sets the reading purpose. It allows you students to use their background knowledge and make connections about what they already know, make predictions about the text, and set the purpose for reading. The teacher divides the assignment into meaningful segments and plans the lesson around these segments. The teacher leads the students into thinking about what they already know about the topic. The teacher then has the students preview the reading segment, examine the illustrations and headings and other clues within the content, make predictions of what they think they will be learning, and then they read the section and evaluate their prediction. Students will then discuss their predictions and the content of the reading as a class. The question-answer relationship strategy helps to determine importance, questioning, and synthesizing information. It basically targets the question, where is the answer? There are 4 levels of questioning that the students will be guided towards. The first level is right there. Basically, they are answering questions that are directly answered from the text. The second level is think and search. This requires them to put some information with the text as well as make an inference. The third level is you and the author. The answer might be found in the student's background knowledge, but only makes sense when they read the text. And then the fourth level is on your own. It poses a question for which the answer must come from the student's background knowledge. The teacher will make up these questions and introduce them and explain that there are 2 kinds of information in a book, explicit and implicit. Then the teacher explains the level of questioning where the answers are found and gives examples of the appropriate age level and content. The teacher then assigns the students to read and answer the questions. They discuss as a class how they can use the strategy on their own and how it helps facilitate learning and critical thinking. The teacher will then close the activity with a discussion on how students can use this strategy for their own reading and learning. We have all either used or seen KWL charts before. KWL charts can be used in all content areas at all grade levels and are helpful because they help students to determine what is their background knowledge, question, and then determine the importance of what they have learned. KWL charts can be very useful for teachers to help the students to make sure they're going on the right track and getting the information that the teacher feels is important for them to learn from a particular unit. A comparison matrix helps students to recognize similarities and differences. Teachers create a blank chart with different topics across the top and down the side and let students compare their information. They are very simple, but they are very useful in organizing information. Response notebooks can be a very important tool in student learning. Sometimes they are called journaling. They help students to question, make inferences, and activate background knowledge. They use writing as a tool for learning. Teachers can make their response notebooks as simple or complex as they would like, depending on the student and the subject, of course. If you have students share quotes and explanations or questions about their quotes in their discussion, it helps them to have to think about what they've read more and bring together their knowledge and organize it in a way that makes it understandable for all. Dialectical notebooks ask students to make sense of a text and write about an interest or boring, amusing, terrifying, confusing, anything that ties to the text and can bring together some connection of their own with their response. Using anticipation guides can be very interesting. It causes students to activate background knowledge, make inferences, and predictions. An anticipation guide is a series of statements that require students to use background knowledge and predictions. The students will read these statements before they've ever read the text and decide whether they agree or disagree with those statements. Then, after they read this text, they will have to reread the statements and determine whether they still agree or disagree. There are actually two different columns for them to mark responses in. One column is a pre-reading column and the other column is a post-reading response column. Teachers may decide to take a chapter tour. Chapter tours can help students make predictions about what they're about to learn, as well as determine their importance. It can be used especially well if there's a text that has chapters with an introduction and a summary, pictures, graphs, diagrams, especially bolded vocabulary terms. You may even break the kids up into different groups and have some of them focusing only on vocabulary while others focus only on the pictures or the graphs, and then have a group discussion about what they think the text is going to tell them. Classification charts help determine importance. The teacher gives a list of charts and has subjects or categories across the top. The students then fill in the boxes and recognize similarities and differences within the boxes about these topics. The teacher does need to make sure that the boxes are large enough they can write information in, but it's a great tool for organizing information and letting students see what you feel is important within the chapter. Visualizing helps to monitor for meaning. Good readers can create visual images in their mind of what they've read. This helps to enhance their comprehension and memory. If the text evokes very strong images or emotions, then the reader will visualize it more easily and be more likely to remember the information. The teacher will read a short selection aloud and model how a mature reader should visualize while reading. The teacher then reads another short segment and asks the students to visualize as they listen. Then discuss with the students what picture they created or image they created in their mind. The teacher repeats the procedure several times until the students are comfortable doing it. The teacher then asks them to read and visualize while they are reading and use the prompts like, when you were reading the story, did you make a picture or image in your mind? What did you see in your mind when you read that story? Now, this can be used in all content areas. However, I do understand it probably is going to be easier in a fiction type story. Think alouds are very interesting, and I know many of you are thinking a think aloud probably is going to work best in an elementary classroom where you're dealing with reading a fiction story. However, think alouds can be very useful in a high school setting as well, and in classes especially like math. They help to monitor meaning, make predictions, and make connections. The teachers demonstrate for students a type of thinking that can occur as you are coming up with or constructing a meaning for a text or finding the answer to a question. Teachers demonstrate the thinking, questioning, predicting, reflection, and connections that are necessary to be able to get the right answer. Using semantic maps help to activate background knowledge and predictions. A semantic map is a visual presentation of a person's knowledge of or experiences with an identified concepts. Creating a semantic map can encourage predictions about what the text is going to be read. The teacher creates a semantic map by coming up with a big idea or a topic and putting it in the center of a chart. Then she allows the students to brainstorm subtopic ideas related to that topic. It might be vocabulary or other ideas. And the students can then revise the semantic map to reflect any new knowledge they've learned after they've read the topic. There is no limit to the number of subtopics that can be added. Graphic organizers have been around for quite a while, and teachers have been using them quite often. What a lot of teachers do not realize is that graphic organizers clarify relationships of ideas for many students and help them to remember the ideas much easier. They can be used at any time in the lesson, and there are so many different ways to set up graphic organizers. This slide represents some of the many types of graphic organizers that are out there. An obstacle course is a great review activity. Teachers set up stations and have the students use both mental and physical challenges together as they move around the room from station to station. Students, for example, could follow a path to organize the correct sequence of events in history lesson. Another example of a obstacle course in a lower grades level might be something like spelling words, where they have to write the correct answer, then skip to the next station and match the vocabulary words with their meaning. They might have to jump from the note card with the word to the note card with the right definition. This activity gets students up out of their seat and gets them moving around the room and learning at the same time. Walk this way, talk this way, look this way focuses on questioning, analyzing, and evaluating. Students identify a source of media with a message and analyze that message. Then they develop their own media message. This can be used for any content area or grade level, but it can especially be used to promote positive body image and healthy living. Definition maps can be very useful. They are a type of graphic organizer that focuses on vocabulary terminology. Basically, you have a word in the middle, and around the word you will put things like synonyms, definitions, examples, drawings, anything that allows the student to build personal meaning and make connections with their prior knowledge. Context clues can be very useful in determining word meaning while reading a text. Context clues can be things like your definition actually being in the text, or an example, compare and contrast, logistical information, root words, affixes, grammar, cause effect, mood, and tone. The teacher can read the text and then put the word on the board and ask students to infer what they believe is the meaning of the word using their background information. Word walls can be used in any content area at any grade level. usually when we think of word walls, we think elementary school, learning new words of the week, and things like that. However, in a content area course, word walls can be used to help learn content-specific text terminology as well. For example, if you have a lot of words that have roots, prefixes, suffixes, if you have these words on a word wall, students can learn to focus on these prefixes, suffixes to get the meaning of the words. An example is in anatomy class, we use a lot of prefixes and suffixes, and students can use these to help them to learn the terminology. It's a great way to learn a lot of new words in a short period of time.